What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Tony Bellew. Get this. Bellew said that Daniel Dubois should leave the sport. It's time to call it quits. The former WBC cruiserweight champ Tony Bellew didn't hold anything back, calling Dubois a quitter and saying it might be time for him to step away from his fifth-round KO loss, and saying the real Daniel doesn't want to fight. And let me counterpunch. I think, me personally, I think that's a bit too harsh. I think we need to see where Daniel's at. He's only 27 years old and he's a millionaire, so I think Daniel will show us everything he needs to show us in time. I don't think that he should make a decision anyway. I do think that Daniel had some vices, had some challenges that he had to work out, and we had to see if it was still there. And, the question is, did he show us that he's improved with his mental fortitude? And to be nice or to be real? To be a nice guy, I would say he improved a little bit, simply based off the fact he was hit a lot harder than the first fight. The first fight, he just straight up quit because the punches didn't even land nothing like they landed this time. You know what I mean? Now, you could say that right hook that Usyk landed with Daniel, that was a bit soft, and he went down kind of, willingly, with that shot, because I don't think that shot would have been or put him down like that. I think he kind of went with that punch, because you see he kind of did a little slide, like, okay. Then it was the slide away from the shot. But I mean, who wants to get hit anyway up top? Bars. But no, but the second punch, though, I definitely think, dude, it knocked his mouthpiece out. So you can't say that wasn't a good shot. You can't say that shot didn't hurt him. I think that shot, he didn't see. And I know if he had a choice, he wouldn't have taken that shot. Because, like, for me personally, I think the punches coming at Daniel like that from somebody with that type of speed, like Usyk, I think it's almost like me getting a shot. I hate shots. You know what I mean? I can't stand getting shots, taking shots, giving blood, taking blood, whatever you want to call it. I don't like needles. And I think the same is through Daniel. I think he has this phobia about getting hit. And it's not really the fact that the punches hurt as hard. I think he just doesn't like the whole idea. I think the phobia, it's like being scared of the dark or some shit like that. I think the phobia or the idea of catching or taking a punch scares him versus the actual punch itself. People expected him to get up. He did look like he wasn't willing to get up like he probably should have, because of all that, he should have made an effort. I do agree. He should have been like, hell, let me get up. Because if anything, Danny Dubois should have been in the condition that AJ was when he hit AJ. And AJ was in no condition. He wasn't going to make the count because AJ was just done. He was done for. His ass was in the air and his face was down. So that told you he was still trying to get up. You know what I mean? That's the kind of effort that people expected from Daniel. And I think that's one of the problems with that. You know what I mean? But to say he should walk away from the sport, I just think he's too young for that. I think they're a bit too harsh. But understand, Tony Bellew, the Liverpoolian, you know what I mean? He is a guy that expected more. Him, Carl Froch, a lot of those guys are now, you're really roasting Daniel because he's a fellow Brit, and they expected him to really show up and show out. And show up and show out doesn't define him taking his time to get up and walking perfectly straight to the fucking corner after the fight was over. After the 10 guy. You see what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are going to shun that shit, and they should. And I think this is the reflection of that, But you guys tell me what you think of Tony Bellew stating that Danny Dubois should walk away from the sport, step away from the stone. Of course, please subscribe, like, and share. and you guys been Counterpunch.